This is the Bugatti Chiron Pur-Sport, Bugatti's limited edition track-focused hypercar. Now this platform is based on the standard Chiron, produces 1500 horsepower from a W16 engine and has a 7-speed brand new gearbox. Only 60 cars will be made worldwide, and I'm pretty sure most of them are sold for. Priced at $3.3 million. This is only the starting price of this car, and I'm sure when you spec it up to what you want, it's going to go much higher. This is the epitome, the definition of a track car. Today we have a very special car, the Bugatti Chiron Pur-Sport, and somebody who's going to explain to us what the car is all about. Welcome, Frank Hale, the Deputy Design Director from Bugatti.
Hello, it's an honor to be on your show.
Thank you for coming, taking out the time to be here. This is your baby. Please give us a rundown about it.
Yeah, so the Pur-Sport versus the Chiron, we did a lot of changes to make this car handle and corner like no other road homologated Bugatti. So this car is all about agility and handling and being nimble. So for that, we have increased the rev range of the engine. It now revs from 6,700 in the Chiron, 6,900 in the Pur-Sport, and that goes very well together with a shorter gearbox.
Right.
So the gearbox is 80% new. It's not only the final drive, so like every gear is now new and it's much shorter, and these two things together will accelerate this car in under 12 seconds from 0 to 300. So those are extreme numbers if you think about it. Think about also the elasticity values.
Right.
The 80 to 120. Yeah?
Right.
That takes about 40% less time than in a Chiron. Picture yourself sitting in a Chiron and you're thrusting yourself out of some apex, 1,500 horsepower, and now add 40% acceleration to that. So these numbers are mind-blowing. And the chassis was tuned to match that.
Wow.
So we have a new tire with a much softer compound that we can actually put more force on the road to make the lateral acceleration greater.
Right.
And that goes together with a negative 2.5 degree camber on the front and the rear. And that makes the car corner like you would not believe for a car of this power scale. And we have much less unsprung mass that also goes together with that. As you know, unsprung mass, if you have less weight in the wheel, if you go through a bump, the wheel will bounce less and the springs can actually push it down further. So you have for more amount of time the mechanical grip, the patch of the tire onto the tarmac. So all of that goes together into a really aggressive and amazing handling of this car, and that fits to the design of the car. Also, if we have so much more mechanical grip, we can load that mechanical grip with more downforce. Right. That's why in the design revision of the front and the rear, downforce played a vital role.
100%.
So we pulled out the front splitter and we incorporated these louvers on the front wings. Right. Because now that we have also opened up the air intakes on the front, we're pushing more air through the radiators, and that gets evacuated into the wheel wells. And it's building up a pressure, and if we would not evacuate that pressure, it would lift the car up in the front and create lift. Now, we didn't want lift on this car.
100%.
That's why we put these louvers here, and it's also, it not only vents the pressure built up from the front wheel wells, it also looks really cool because the crease line from the door is actually continued through this, like a tendon to a muscle almost. And left and right fall the air outlets. Coming around to the sides, we have introduced a new color split. So this is a new technique for us. It's actually seamless. There's no panel gap here. It's under the clear coat. So it's not so easy to get exposed carbon fiber and paint on one part without the painted part actually taking the texture from the carbon fiber. So the paint will actually sink in after a few months. And then you'll see it's not nice on the surface anymore. So we made a new plybook for these parts to be able to be dual finish. And in the Bugatti quality, which is the highest quality of carbon fiber that I have ever seen. Now, all the downforce on the front that we have
Right.
created needed to be counterbalanced on the rear,
Right.
hence the big wing.
Right.
And this wing has a very special design feature to it as well, which is the X theme. So you see
Right.
this kind of trapezoid
Right.
wing support is mirrored on the rear bumper and diffuser, so that you get this X theme.
Right.
X is
Something
for
like-
extreme
yeah, something
and
like the bolide.
experimental. You see it in the bolide as well,
Yes,
even
you
much
see
more
the-
extreme with the
much
light
more extreme
signature.
in this as well. Yes.
So
correct.
this is the first production car that has the X theme. You're going
Wow.
to see it much more on Bugatti cars in the future as well.
It looks like a spacecraft from the back.
Thank you.
Literally.
And so you see the rear wing, and you see how much we pulled out the diffuser as well. You see the rear wing and the diffuser work in correlation. So the diffuser is now higher, it's a bit wider, and the rake angle is
All right.
steeper. So the wing and the rear diffuser in correlation make up a lot more downforce altogether. And now we come to one of my highlights, which is the titanium exhaust tip.
This is 3D printed.
This is 3D printed.
Yes.
It could not have been made like this shape in cast or in machined technology. It can only look like this because it is printed. It is a generative design.
Wow.
And it is so thin, it is 0.9 millimeters thickness. You listen to this?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like a surgical instrument almost. And we actually had to put a second railing around. We call this coping.
Right.
That complies with the pedestrian impact and the homologation
Okay.
laws of having a 2.5 millimeter radius on all the edges of the car everywhere, right?
Okay.
So that you can touch this and you cannot hurt yourself.
Yes.
But inside it is so thin that it saves nearly 2 kilograms at the right spot, because this is behind the rear axle.
Right.
And on a rear mid-engine car, it is vital to save weight behind the rear axle to shift the balance forward. It's all about weight balance, right? So that's why it makes sense to actually eradicate the hydraulic wing actuators
Yes.
of the, let's say,
Right.
regular Chiron, because it saves weight at the right corner,
Correct.
just like the exhaust tip.
Perfect. Thank you so much for all the information.
My
Our
pleasure.
viewers will love it. Thank you for the insight. I hope you have a good stay in Dubai and safe journey back home.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you.